Hello, my name is Tony Roberts. I'm the Chief Transformation Officer for the Team Builder Leadership Institute. And I wanted to share with you an experience I had recently, and it's got to do with leadership. And part of the reason that TLI actually exists. So I was dealing with a client, and I'm helping a client with a training endeavor they have, and it's a Fortune 500 company. Every year, they actually purchase sales training for some of their staff, a few hundred people. And so been involved with them before, and I was talking with the woman responsible for getting the training, and she started sharing with me some things, and it really shows you how much negative leadership or poor leadership affect an organization. So the first thing is she's talking about how the people that she has to request the training from will not let her actually get any kind of substantial training or coaching for the staff, even though that they're pushing growth in the company's numbers, okay, a number of customers they have in this particular geographic area. And so she was told that they need to rubber stamp it. They need to do training to say they done training. In other words, there's no real desire on the leadership for any change. They just want to be able to say they did something. Now, on a level above that, on the corporate executive management level, she tells me that those people there, well, the person who makes that decision actually is close to retirement, and their sense of things is, let's not rock the boat. Let me finish up and get out of here. So, you know, we look at things like that, and I'm sure a lot of you can empathize or even put yourself in these situations you've been in. But if you look at it, how does this affect the staff? Well, you have a staff that in the organization that is being pushed to generate better numbers, but they're not given the skills and the knowledge to do it. They're receiving the same old tired information, and nobody helps them add or improve their skills. The management really doesn't care. They just want to punch the stamp it and say, yeah, we did this, we gave them that. So, and the person in charge of proving this at the unit level, their idea is, well, as long as somebody else generates or does it, I can always blame it on them. In other words, they won't take any accountability. This same leader, I was told by the purchasing person, the same leader, the leader she has to go to get the approval, this person fragments the group. In other words, they don't ever want all the other leaders to agree unless they agree with them, because they feel threatened. So what they do is they'll take managers out to lunch individually and separately, and then try to program them to get them on their side. So they're always creating strife within the organization. The morale is basically none. They've had leaders in supervisory capacity blow up, break down, leave, quit. So what kind of damage is this doing to an organization? What does it do when you see a leader in an organization just start yelling and really spilling the guts about how he's being treated, threatened, coerced, manipulated, blackmailed? What does that do to the morale of an organization, do you think? Well, I've actually seen these types of things before, and I can tell you it destroys the morale, because when that person feels that kind of pressure, is anybody else feeling any pressure? Do you think that's the only person this leader's treating that way? Now, one of the things that you can do is you can look at your turnover. You know, research shows that, well, there's different bodies of research, but one shows that to replace an employee, let's say a lower level employee, it costs, by the time you run an ad and you interview and you pay the salaries to interview and you do the paper and all the things you do to bring somebody in and go through the applications and finally hire somebody, it shows that research shows that it costs about $27,000. Unless they're on the higher end of the management scale, and then research shows it can be twice their annual salary to actually go through the process to get them on board. Now, isn't that a lot to pay for someone? You're already paying a leader, and now you're going to pay them basically $27,000 a person when they run them off, when they make it to where these people can't work with them because they have no morals, no values, no scruples. They're underhanded. Now, what's the fix for this? What's the fix to help leaders understand that maybe they grew up this way, maybe in their beliefs these actions are okay, but in corporate America, they are unprofitable, unproductive, and in a lot of cases, just simply unacceptable. How can we fix it? How can we educate a leader like that? How can we give them the chance to change? What can we do? Well, here's the thing, guys. What you do with a leader like that is you give them training, not just the standard training that you see where it says do's and don'ts, and it really, it's ambiguous. It allows you to insert your own beliefs in there. You got to give them standardized training, meaning you teach them exactly what to do and what not to do. You make it so they don't have to stop and think, if I feel this way, can I do it? No, if it's against this standard, you don't do it, period. So at TLI, what we teach is we teach the Dynamic Guide Professional Leadership Standard. Now, what is that? Research shows that there are universal skills that leaders use that no matter where you're from, whether you're from India, whether you're from Korea, whether you're from America, whether you're from Japan or the Middle East, there are certain interpersonal skills and behaviors that all people feel good about. And of course, we all know there's ones that all people don't feel good about. So the key to leadership, corporate leadership, now we're not talking being Attila the Hun, being an emperor and taking over, and that's not the kind of leader we're looking for here in corporate America. We don't leave bodies everywhere. So what we're looking for in corporate America is someone who can bring a diverse group of people together and focus them on the mission of the organization and make them want to come to work every day and want to work toward that mission and not want to mess with each other or impede the process or be negative. Now, so if you agree with that definition of what we want to do as a leader, here's how you do that. You learn a set of standards with those universal behaviors that all people are good with. It makes all people feel good. It makes all people want to participate. It builds loyalty. It inspires them. It motivates them. It does not distract them from what they're doing. Think about it. If you were working for that leader I was talking about who pulls people off to the side and tries to play them against each other and things like that, what would you think about when you saw that person? Would you think about work, or would you think about, there's that guy? Most of us are going to go with our emotions and say, there's that guy, especially once he does it to us. In other words, he tries to get another leader to work against us and our employees to work against us. He tries to hang us out to dry, and then we're going to be all wrapped up mentally of why is that jerk even a leader? All right, so now you got to understand a lot of these leaders, they've never been trained any differently. They just don't know any better. Now you would think, well, from what you're describing, Tony, everybody should know. But you got to remember, we're all a product of where we're born, when we're born, and the culture we grow up in. So culture is not national, it's not regional, it's not racial. Culture is this house will have a different culture than the next door neighbor. With that said, people grow up believing certain behaviors are okay based on their experiences. What have they been around? What have they been told is good? So you can't expect someone to have the same value system as someone else. But what you can do is put a standardized set of acceptable behaviors for a leader. And these acceptable behaviors are the standards saying this is what's enforced constantly. This you can do, you do it this way. This you never do. Okay? And what you do is you put in a standard set of behaviors that makes the organization profitable, productive, positive, and pleasant. Now it's not miraculous. It's not even rocket science. There's only 9 different categories that you have to master to do this, and it's really not that difficult. As a matter of fact, in our online program, this is exactly what we teach. But the point is here, think about how much grief this one leader is causing because they're middle management. Think about how much grief they're causing both down and up. Because up, they're not getting the numbers, they're not getting the profit, they're not getting the growth. Down, they're not getting any support. As a matter of fact, their direct leaders working directly against them in many ways. They're trying to create little compartmentalized nepotism. They want to bypass HR and just hire their friends from the church and things like that. This person wants to break every rule that there is in corporate America. Now, and of course, that puts the company at jeopardy because if everybody else lets them get away with it, now upper management may end up with a lawsuit on their hand. So here's the point. That one poor leader, would it be better off to fire them or give them the proper information, train them, and if you give everybody that leadership standard so everybody learns that, if you do have to release that person, now you've got a highly trained leader that meets the standards because you've already trained them, you've already observed them, you've already evaluated them on those standards. Now you've got one that meets the standards that can step right into the place. You don't have to bring somebody from outside that you have no idea what they do, which in this case is exactly what happened. So leadership is extremely important, but you got to train your leaders. You got to teach them skills. You cannot allow them to use the beliefs that they grew up with, because a lot of times the beliefs from your family and beliefs in corporate America of what's right and wrong, in other words, what fits in the culture productively, are not the same. Your family life is different than corporate America. Now, you should have positive activities in your family too, but that's personal choice. But in corporate America, you have stockholders, you have stakeholders, you have employees. These people should be treated with dignity, respect, and honesty all the time. That's the only way you can ensure that a company doesn't end up in hot water. So, the Dynamic Guide Professional Leadership Standard, what it's for is to solve issues like this. A lot of you can probably relate to this because this is a real-life scenario and it happens every day in workplaces across America. Stop poor leadership. Get the fix. Get them the skills. Put a standard in your organization where people can actually know the skills, the exact skills, and how to use them. They know the application as well, so they can actually be a highly professional, successful, effective leader. Thank you.